Welcome back, dear friends, and a special, warm hello to those of you joining us for the very first time. Tonight, I invite you to settle in, perhaps dim the lights, and let the quiet descend around you. Pull that blanket up tight, because we're not journeying to a bustling metropolis or a grand battlefield. Oh no. Tonight, we're venturing somewhere far more intimate, a place of silent observation and sticky sweetness. We're stepping into a world that whispers secrets to those patient enough to listen. A strange, ancient dance between humans and the tiny engineers of the natural world. History class certainly never told you any of this, did it? Journeying to a bustling metropolis or a grand battlefield. Oh no. Tonight, we're venturing somewhere far more intimate, a place of silent observation and sticky sweetness. We're stepping into a world that whispers secrets to those patient enough to listen. A strange, ancient dance between humans and the tiny engineers of the natural world. History class certainly never told you any of this, did it? Our journey begins not with a bang, but with a quiet, persistent hum, a sound that has echoed through human settlements for countless millennia. Long before coins were minted or empires rose and fell, the gentle art of beekeeping took root, intertwined deeply with the very first stirrings of settled human life, a practice as old as agriculture itself. When people began to cultivate the land, planting grains and tending orchards, they couldn't help but notice the small, industrious creatures that flitted between blossoms, gathering nectar, seemingly orchestrating their own intricate society. Within hollow trees or crevices in rock faces. Imagine, if you will, the soft light of dawn in a time long past, perhaps in a sun-drenched valley in ancient Egypt, or nestled among the olive groves of Minoan Crete. The air, still holding the nocturnal coolness, would be subtly infused with the perfume of blooming wildflowers, perhaps wild thyme or rosemary, mingled with the unmistakable, earthy, and slightly sweet scent of beeswax. And then, there it is, that faint, almost vibrational hum that emanates from a cluster of clay pots or woven baskets, carefully arranged on a low wall or beneath the sheltering branches of a fig tree. These were the earliest hives, not elaborate structures, but rather simple, unassuming vessels crafted from common materials. These humble containers, whether they were sun-baked earthenware cylinders, often sealed at one end with a removable cap, or delicately woven baskets, perhaps fashioned from reeds or straw, and plastered with mud served a singular, elegant purpose. They offered shelter. They provided a dark, protected cavity where a wild bee colony, once discovered and gently coaxed, could establish its intricate comb, store its provisions, and raise its young, safe from the harsher elements, and crucially, from many predators. The ancient beekeeper understood this fundamental need for security and calm. This early relationship between humans and bees was less about domination and more about quiet cohabitation and observation. The beekeeper of antiquity, much like a patient gardener tending a prized patch of herbs, would approach their apiary with a deliberate slowness. There was no hurried movement, no sudden gestures. They would spend time simply watching the hive entrances, noting the steady stream of worker bees coming and going, each laden with pollen or nectar. This quiet vigilance, this deep respect for the tiny, complex society within, was paramount. Urgency, they knew, had no place in this delicate partnership. The bees dictated the rhythm, and the human observer learned to flow with it, understanding that patience was the most valuable tool in their possession. As the days lengthened, bringing with them the subtle warmth of early spring, a new energy would stir within the ancient apiary. After the long, cool dormancy of winter, when the colony had clustered tightly together for warmth, the queen, now revitalized, would begin her prodigious laying. Each tiny, pearly egg a promise of new life, a future worker, drone, or even a successor queen. The colony, once a quiet, almost dormant entity, would begin to swell, its population expanding rapidly, preparing for the great floral abundance that autumn once more would bring. The beekeeper, ever watchful, would monitor these burgeoning populations with a keen eye, understanding the delicate balance between growth and the instinct to swarm. Swarming, that natural act of colony division, was both a challenge and an opportunity. It meant a portion of the bees, along with the old queen, would leave to seek a new home, but it also offered a chance to expand the apiary, to establish new colonies. The ancient beekeeper, lacking the sophisticated equipment of today, might facilitate this process, perhaps by carefully dividing a strong hive, or by ensuring an empty, prepared log or basket was enticingly close when the first signs of swarming began. Guiding a new queen and her followers to a freshly prepared hive was an art, ensuring the continuation and expansion of their precious insect partners. There was no protective gear, as we understand it today, no netted suits, no thick gloves, Instead, the beekeeper relied entirely on patience, a slow, deliberate hand, and a deep understanding of bee behavior. A wisp of smoke, perhaps from smoldering leaves, dried dung, or rotten wood, was the primary tool for calming the industrious insects. The goal was never to dominate, never to force, but to coax, to gently guide, to persuade the bees to share their bounty, without disrupting their delicate social structure, without triggering their defensive instincts. It was a dance of trust, built on quiet observation and a profound respect for the intricate society within the hive. The honey itself, that liquid gold, was far more than just a simple sweetener in these ancient societies. It was a vital source of energy, a medicine used for a myriad of ailments, a preservative enabling food to last longer through lean seasons, and even a source of light when crafted into candles. It held cultural and spiritual significance, often offered to deities or used in sacred rituals, a tangible connection to the divine generosity of nature. The taste of this ancient honey would have been rich and complex, a direct reflection of the surrounding flora, perhaps notes of wild lavender from sun-drenched hillsides, or the pungent sweetness of heather from windswept moors, or the delicate perfume of wildflowers from a nearby meadow. Each jar, each comb, a unique flavor profile, far removed from the homogenized products of modern agriculture. Extracting this precious substance would have been a laborious process, often involving the careful removal of full combs and then crushing them to release the sticky sweetness. The honey would then be strained, perhaps through a coarse cloth or basketry, separating it from the fragments of wax and other hive debris. This rich, aromatic beeswax was not discarded. It too held immense value. It would be melted down and purified, finding its own uses in creating candles for illumination, sealing scrolls or containers, waterproofing textiles, or even in early forms of cosmetics and salves. Nothing was wasted in this careful, cyclical relationship with the bees. This careful, cyclical relationship with the bees would continue, its fundamental principles remaining remarkably consistent even as centuries slowly turned into millennia. The basic tools of the beekeeper might gradually evolve from simple hollowed logs or inverted clay pots to more sophisticated constructions of woven straw, known as skeps, or later still, to wooden boxes with removable frames, allowing for less destructive harvesting. But regardless of the vessel, the deeply ingrained understanding between the human and the bee, that quiet, symbiotic bond, persisted. The beekeeper of ancient times, and indeed for many ages thereafter, would always understand that the bees themselves were the true architects of their intricate world, the true engineers of the golden liquid and the waxen structures. The human role in this delicate partnership was largely one of gentle stewardship, providing a safe, weatherproof shelter, perhaps offering a measure of protection from larger predators who might seek to raid the precious stores. And then, during the appropriate season, lending a careful, gentle hand during the harvest. Imagine for a moment the sensation of holding a piece of honeycomb, freshly removed from the hive, still carrying the warmth of the countless tiny bodies that had built and tended it. It would be pliable beneath the fingers, yielding softly, perhaps a little sticky, and profoundly fragrant. That aroma, a complex tapestry of scents, would carry the distinct, slightly resinous note of propolis, the protective glue the bees use to seal their home, mingled with the stored sunshine of 1,000 different blossoms, each one contributing its unique essence to the sweetness within. The sound, too, would be a constant, reassuring presence in the beekeeper's daily life. The soft, persistent hum that emanated from a healthy, thriving colony, a tiny city of purposeful activity. This gentle, continuous vibration was the very sign of vitality, a living testament to the industry within. Even the occasional sting, an almost inevitable part of the beekeeper's quiet existence, might have been perceived in a different light. Perhaps it was less an attack and more a sharp, immediate reminder of the bee's vital, powerful presence. A small, fleeting discomfort, a tiny price willingly paid for the immense, profound sweetness and the myriad other gifts they so generously offered. This quiet world, driven by the unwavering instincts of the bee and the inexorable cycles of the natural world, endured not through forceful human intervention or grand schemes, but through patient, meticulous observation. It was a practice rooted in a deep, intimate knowledge of the local land, the seasonal bloom of plants, and an inherent, almost unconscious understanding of the intricate, cooperative dance that unfolded ceaselessly between the flower, the bee, and the hands that gently tended them. This unbroken chain of connection, this quiet art, stretches back through the very mists of time, a testament to enduring patience and cooperation.